Rooftop solar looks great, doesn't it? Clean energy, lower bills. It's a really appealing idea.
It really is. The potential is huge.
But, sometimes that dream can turn into a bit of a nightmare.
That's exactly what we're diving into today. Things can go wrong.
Yeah, so today we're looking at the big mistakes, the sort of pitfalls that can really mess up your solar plans. We've dug into studies, real stories from the US, India.
Some pretty eye-opening stats, actually.
Right. We're calling them the 7 deadly sins of rooftop solar. These are the errors that can cost you big time, leaving you with a system that just doesn't deliver.
Or worse, causes actual problems.
Exactly. So our goal here is to give you the insights, the knowledge you need to avoid these traps and make sure your solar journey is actually a success.
Absolutely. We're not trying to put anyone off solar. Far from it.
No, no.
It's more about going in with your eyes open, knowing what to look out for, sidestepping those common mistakes so you can actually enjoy the benefits long term.
Okay, let's jump straight in then. Sin number 1, poor roof assessment. This sounds basic, but why is checking the roof before you even think about panels so important?
Well, think about it. Your roof is literally the foundation for this pretty significant investment.
Right.
If you don't really check it out thoroughly before you put panels on, you might be building this long-term energy thing on, well, shaky ground.
Shaky foundations, yeah.
Exactly. We need to look at its age, its structural strength. I mean, can it actually hold the weight? And really importantly, shade. How much shade hits it during the day?
Okay, so let's break that down. Roof age. Say your roof is, 15 years old, maybe more? Less than 20 years left on it? What's the risk there?
The big risk is having to replace the roof after the panels are on. Imagine your roof needs doing in, say, 5 years. You'll have to pay someone to take all those panels off, then pay for the new roof, and then pay again to put the panels back on.
Ouch. That's a huge extra cost.
Totally avoidable, too, with a good assessment up front. It's that classic penny-wise, pound-foolish scenario.
Okay, and it's not just age, right? You mentioned structural strength. What are the concerns there?
Yeah, panels and the mounting gear add quite a bit of weight. Plus, they need to handle wind load, snow load in some places.
Right.
If you skip checking the structure, especially on an older roof, you could end up with sagging, leaks, or worse, actual structural damage down the line. We saw sources from India warning about this specifically.
And shade.
Yeah.
Seems like a little bit wouldn't matter that much, but...
Oh, it matters a lot. Even a small amount of consistent shade on just part of a panel or part of the array can slash your output. We're talking maybe 5%, maybe up to 25% reduction in energy.
Wow, 25%. That's huge.
It really is. Panels really hate shade. They want direct sun. Any consistent blockage just kills their efficiency and your savings.
So skipping that detailed site survey where they map out the shade, what's the real loss for the homeowner then?
Well, you end up with a system that just never hits its potential. You're losing out on savings every single day, year after year. Plus, if they install badly around obstacles, you would get leaks or other damage. It's just not worth the gamble.
And apparently something like 20% of installations have performance issues because of bad site assessments.
Yeah.
That's a lot of unhappy customers.
It is. And the real-world consequences can be severe, like that homeowner in Connecticut.
Oh, yeah, the leaks?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Water leaks, damaged ceilings. And at first, they blamed squirrels.
Right.
But it was the installation itself compromising the roof. The cost to fix it, removing panels, repairing the roof, reinstalling panels, was way more than a proper assessment would have cost initially.
And in India, the issue with unsealed mounting holes. That sounds pretty serious, too, especially with monsoons.
Very serious. Unsealed holes let water seep in, which can weaken the whole roof structure over time. We heard about cases, maybe extreme, but cases of partial collapses during heavy rains.
Like,
Good installers in India use chemical anchors, proper sealants, sometimes even bring in structural engineers for bigger jobs. It just shows how vital that upfront check is.
okay, so the big takeaway for sin number 1, get a thorough roof inspection before you sign anything.
Absolutely.
Make sure it's got at least 20 years of life left. If it's over 15 years old, seriously think about replacing it first.
Yep.
And get experts to check the structure and map out all the shade. That initial assessment cost, it's insurance, really.
It absolutely is. It saves so much potential cost and headache later.
Right. Okay, moving on to deadly sin number 2. Using low-quality components. That temptation to go for the cheapest quote.
Ah, yes. The hidden costs of cheap gear. It's a good one. Because, not all solar panels, not all inverters, not all the little bits and pieces are made equal.
It's like buying the absolute cheapest car you can find, isn't it?
Exactly.
You might save money up front, but
You'll likely be paying for it in repairs and breakdowns later.
yeah,
Exactly. With solar panels, a key thing is degradation.
how much they lose power over time.
Precisely. Good quality panels might degrade maybe 0.5% a year. They often guarantee 80–90% of their original output after 25 years.
Okay.
Cheaper ones, they might degrade 1%, 2%, maybe even more per year. So over 20 years, a good panel might still be at 90%, but a shoddy one could be down to 70 or 80%. That's a massive difference in the energy you actually get.
And a massive difference in your savings, obviously. What about the inverter? That's a crucial piece, right?
Crucial. It's the brain, or maybe the heart of the system. It converts the DC power from the panels to the AC power your house
If
uses.
that fails.
Your whole system is down. Cheap inverters might only last a few years. Good quality ones, they're built to last 10, 15 years or more, and they come with much better warranties, usually 10, 15 years.
Okay, that peace of mind sounds worth paying for. And the smaller bits, wiring, connectors, the mounts. Surely skimping there can't hurt that much.
You'd be surprised. We saw a shocking statistic. Something like 60% of solar system downtime is actually caused by failures in these small DC electrical parts, wires, connectors, isolators.
60%. But they're only a tiny part of the cost.
Exactly. It makes no sense to cut corners there. A failed connector, bad wiring. It can cause outages or even become a safety hazard.
And globally, using cheap panels could cut your ROI by up to 10% over the lifetime. That initial discount suddenly looks pretty bad.
It really does. And while panel failures are generally rare now, when they do happen, it's often linked back to those lower-tier manufacturers cutting corners on quality control.
We saw that play out dramatically in the US with Pink Energy, didn't we?
Oh, absolutely. A real cautionary tale. They grew fast, pushed low costs, but ended up with thousands of complaints, underperforming panels, failing inverters.
And then bankruptcy, leaving people high and dry.
Exactly. People were left with systems that didn't work and warranties that were worthless. It shows the real danger of chasing the lowest price without considering the quality behind it.
And India's booming market. Similar concerns there.
Yes, very much so. With the huge government push, lots of new brands and installers have jumped in, and sometimes, especially with less experienced installers, they might use subpar components to hit a price point.
Like what kind of things?
Things like thinner panel frames that can bend or break easily, uneven coatings on the solar cells, materials that just don't last as long and degrade faster.
So you get what you pay for, basically.
Pretty much. And using the wrong type of inverter, like a cheaper single-phase one when a three-phase is needed for the load, can cause failures and safety issues too.
So the crucial point here is quality matters. A lot.
Immensely. You really do get what you pay for with solar hardware. Reputable, certified panels and inverters from established Tier 1 manufacturers. Yeah, they cost more upfront.
But they perform better and last longer.
Exactly. They generate more power reliably over decades. So look beyond the sticker price, check the specs, check the warranties.
What's a good warranty look like?
For panels, look for a 25-year performance warranty guaranteeing at least 80%, ideally closer to 90% output near the end. For inverters, 10 years is good, 12 or 15 is better. Short or vague warranties. Big red flag.
Don't sacrifice quality for a small saving.
Never. It'll cost you much more in the long run through lost energy and replacement costs. This is where choosing a partner like IHS and Virotech really pays off. They're known for using high-quality components in their advanced solar systems, focusing on that long-term reliability.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about sin number 3, ignoring safety standards. This one sounds, well, scary. High voltage electricity on your roof.
It is scary, or it should be if corners are cut. Safety is absolutely non-negotiable. We're dealing with serious electrical power up there.
So what does ignoring safety standards actually mean in practice? What are installers skipping?
It can mean a lot of things, unfortunately. Skipping proper grounding or earthing, not installing rapid shutdown devices, which are often required now, using the wrong type or size of wiring, missing surge protectors, fuses, circuit breakers.
And these aren't just suggestions, are they? These are real safety features.
They're critical. They protect your home, your property, and crucially, your family and anyone who might need to work on the system or your roof, like firefighters. It's like driving without seatbelts or airbags. Why would you risk it?
You mentioned rapid shutdown. What exactly is that, and why is it so important, especially in the U.S.?
Right. Rapid shutdown is a requirement in the U.S. National Electrical Code. Basically, it lets firefighters quickly de-energize the panels right at the source in an emergency, like a fire.
Because even if you flip the main switch,
The panels are still generating live DC voltage if the sun's out. That's a huge shock hazard for anyone on the roof. Rapid shutdown brings that voltage down to a safe level very quickly.
Got it. And grounding or earthing, you said that's often skipped.
Shockingly often. Proper grounding connects all the metal parts of the system safely to the earth, so any stray current goes there instead of through, well, a person.
So skipping it creates a shock risk.
A major shock risk. And it's alarming, but grounding issues are consistently the #1 safety problem found in solar audits globally, like the most common issue.
Wow. Okay, what about things like fuses and surge protectors?
Essential electrical protection. Surge protectors defend your inverter the expensive bit from voltage spikes, like from lightning strikes. Really important in stormy areas.
Like parts of India, for sure.
Definitely. And fuses or circuit breakers prevent wires from overheating and causing fires if there's a short circuit or overload. It's a massive red flag if an installer just wires things up directly without proper breakers.
We hear about solar fires occasionally. Are they common? What causes them?
They're rare when installed correctly, very rare, but they can happen if safety rules are ignored. Faulty installations, bad connections, using cheap components like DC isolator switches, these have been traced as causes in the US and Australia.
So proper installation following code is key to preventing them.
Absolutely, and things like rapid shutdown and clear labeling also help firefighters respond safely and quickly if something does happen, potentially limiting damage.
It's worrying to hear audits find things like mismatched connectors or messy wiring so often.
It is. Mismatched or poorly crimped connectors can loosen, corrode, arc. That's a fire hazard right there. And messy wires can get damaged, snagged, chewed by animals. Again, safety and performance risks.
And in India, specific safety challenges.
We mentioned the earthing issues already, sometimes omitted to save costs, which is incredibly risky. There have been reports of shocks. Using undersized equipment without proper protection is another one. And leaving damaged panels in place, that's just asking for trouble with exposed wiring.
So the takeaway is stark. Safety first, always.
No
compromise.
Absolutely none. A reputable installer lives and breathes safety codes. They'll ensure proper grounding, install rapid shutdown if required, use the right surge protection, fuses, wiring, everything properly labeled.
And if an installer suggests skipping a safety step to save a few bucks,
run away. Seriously. That's not someone you want working on your home. Check their work, ask questions, look for that grounding wire connected properly, see the disconnect switches. Again, companies like IHS and Virotech prioritize these safety standards in their advanced solar systems, which is what you want. Your solar system should make your home better, not dangerous.
couldn't agree more. Okay, sin number 4, improper system sizing. Getting the size just right. The Goldilocks principle for solar.
Exactly. It's crucial. Too big or too small both lead to problems, mostly financial ones, but performance too. You need the size that fits your energy needs just right.
So what happens if the system is too small? Undersized.
Simple. It just doesn't generate enough power to make a big dent in your electricity bill. Your savings will be pretty underwhelming.
Kind of disappointing after making the investment.
Very disappointing. It often happens if people focus only on the lowest upfront cost or have limited roof space, but they end up leaving significant potential savings on the table.
Okay, what about the other extreme? Oversizing. Isn't more power always better?
Not necessarily, especially with how utility billing often works. If you generate way more power than you use, most utilities, particularly in the US, won't pay you the full retail rate for that excess you send back to the grid.
Ah, the net metering rules.
Right. You might get some credit, but it's often at a lower wholesale rate, and those credits might be capped annually or even expire. So paying for a bunch of extra panels hoping to make a profit off the utility usually doesn't work out. It's like buying way too much food you can't possibly eat.
Wasted investment.
Pretty much.
And are there similar issues in India with oversizing?
Yes, definitely policy constraints there too. Often you can't install a system significantly larger than your sanction load or export more than you consume. Plus, larger systems might fall under different rules like gross metering instead of net metering, which can be less financially attractive. Oversizing can actually break the rules or just give you poor returns.
So oversizing by, say, more than 20% can actually hurt your ROI.
Yeah, studies suggest that. The extra cost for those panels just doesn't pay for itself in extra savings if you can't use the energy or get full credit for it. You might end up with huge utility credits you never use. Sometimes it even leads to installers putting in an inverter that's too small for the oversized panel array, causing clipping where potential energy is just lost because the inverter can't handle it.
And on the flip side, the disappointment of undersizing. Any examples?
Oh, yeah. Imagine investing thousands and only seeing your bill drop by like 30%. It happens.
Yeah.
Maybe the installer lowballed your usage or you cut corners on panels. We heard about some cases linked to pink energy again, where people got systems, even with batteries, that just never covered their needs despite the cost.
And in India, a small 1 kW system might barely touch a family's usage.
Exactly. Maybe it generates 4 units a day when they use 10 or 15. It helps, but not much. And not planning for future needs, like an EV or a new AC unit, can lead to undersizing down the road.
So how do you get it right? How do you find that just right size?
It starts with a really good look at your past energy use. Like, get your last 12 months of electricity bills.
Okay.
Then, factor in any changes you expect, getting an electric car, adding a heat pump, kids moving out, whatever. A good installer does an energy audit, analyzes your load profile, looks at your roof space and
I
orientation.
should really tailor it to you.
Precisely. They should be able to simulate performance and show you the expected output and savings for different sizes.
What should the target be? Aim for 100% of usage.
Generally, yeah. Aiming to cover close to 100% of your annual electricity consumption is usually the sweet spot. Maybe slightly over, like 105% or 110%, to account for panel degradation over time or cloudier years. That's often okay. But avoid massive oversizing.
And a budget is tight.
Discuss options. Maybe a system designed for easy expansion later, or focus the system on offsetting your most expensive peak usage times.
And check local policies, especially in India.
Absolutely crucial in India. Know the net metering rules for your area and your connection size. Don't install a system bigger than policy allows if you want the benefits of net metering. Installing a 7 kilowatt system on a 5 kilowatt connection might mean you only get credit for 5 kilowatts of output, for instance.
Okay, so the big lesson, right size it. Work with an installer who actually analyzes your needs properly.
Ask for that load analysis. Talk about your future plans.
A well-sized system maximizes savings without wasting money or breaking rules. It needs to fit your needs. And again, a partner like IHS Envirotech can help ensure that sizing is done correctly for their advanced solar systems, based on a proper assessment.
Couldn't agree more, which leads nicely into sin number 5. Poor installation practices. Because even if you buy the best panels, the best inverter, and size it perfectly.
If the installation itself is sloppy, it can all go wrong.
Exactly. The quality of the workmanship, the attention to detail, it's absolutely critical. This covers everything from wiring to mounting to sealing.
What kind of installation mistakes do you see? Let's start with electrical stuff.
Sloppy wiring is a big one. Loose cables flapping in the wind, connections that aren't properly torqued or weatherproofed, these can fail over time. Poor wire management, not securing cables properly, leaving them exposed, can actually cause shading on the panels below them.
Really? The wires themselves?
Yeah, or they become chew toys for squirrels or other critters, leading to shorts and outages. We saw stats saying almost 40% of U.S. inspections found wire management issues.
Wow. Okay, what about the physical mounting? How can that go wrong?
If the panels and racking aren't bolted down securely, hitting the roof rafters correctly, using enough fasteners,
Yeah.
they can loosen up, or worse.
Fly off in a storm?
It happens. We saw that clearly in India after Cyclone Biparjoy. Lots of rooftop panels got ripped away because the mounting structures were flimsy, undersized, rusted, or just not properly tightened and sealed. The well-installed systems mostly stayed put.
That's a pretty stark difference. What about tilt and orientation? Can they mess that up?
Oh yeah. Setting the wrong tilt angle reduces how much sun the panels catch. Simple as that. Uneven mounting can make rows look slanted and messy. And not spacing rows correctly on a flat roof can cause one row to shade the one behind it. We heard about a flat roof job with no tilt at all, bad production, and grime buildup from water pooling.
And drilling holes in the roof, sealing those properly must be key.
Absolutely vital. Every penetration is a potential leak point. Good installers use quality sealants, flashings, follow best practices to keep it watertight. Bad installers might just slap some silicone on, or worse, nothing much at all. Hello, roof leaks.
And just generally not following instructions.
Yeah, not following the manufacturer's guidelines for the panels or the racking. Over-tightening bolts can cause micro cracks in the panels you can't even see.
Yeah.
Under-tightening means things can slip. Skipping steps, not using torque wrenches. It all leads to potential problems. We saw data suggesting nearly half of audited sites had damaged modules, often from bad installation or handling.
This really drives home the need for qualified installers again.
It really does. Look for certifications NABCP in the U.S., Surya Mitra trained technicians in India. Ask about their quality control. Good installers take pride in their work.
And the impact of bad installation on performance can be huge, right? Up to 30% loss?
That's what some studies suggest, yeah. A massive loss of potential energy and savings just due to sloppy work. Like that example from Arizona where panels weren't even plugged in properly because the first crew rushed it. Simple fix, but it highlights the lack of quality control sometimes.
And in India, besides the mounting issues, things like bad cleaning methods, damaging panels.
Yeah, using harsh scrubbers or detergents, misaligning panels on tile roofs so they catch the wind. It often comes down to inexperienced or careless crews trying to finish quickly.
So takeaway number 5, installation quality is king.
It really is. Choose installers with a proven track record, ask for photos of past work, talk to references.
Look for those visual cues, right? Tidy wiring, straight panels, proper labeling.
Exactly. A good installer is meticulous. Ask about their training, the standards they follow, because poor installation can completely undermine the value of good equipment. Again, a company like IHS Envirotech, focusing on their advanced solar systems, emphasizes that quality installation practice.
Makes sense. Okay, sin number 6, ignoring maintenance and monitoring. The old set it and forget it myth for solar.
Yeah, that's a dangerous myth. While solar is definitely low maintenance compared to, say, a generator, it's not no maintenance. Ignoring it completely means you're likely losing money.
So it's not quite set it and forget it. What kind of attention does it need?
2 main things: monitoring and basic maintenance, mostly cleaning. Ignoring these is like ignoring your car's check engine light. You might get away with it for a while, but eventually.
It'll catch up with you. Okay, monitoring first. Why bother checking the app or portal?
Because it's your early warning system. If a breaker trips, if a panel fails, if performance suddenly dips, your monitoring system shows you. You can catch small problems before they become big, expensive ones, or before you lose months of production without realizing it.
Like that story of the system being offline for 6 months.
Exactly. Only notice because the electricity bill shot up. Regular monitoring, even just a quick glance once a week or month, prevents that.
Okay, and maintenance. What's usually involved?
Mostly it's about keeping the panels clean. Dust, dirt, pollen, bird droppings, leaves, snow. Anything that blocks sunlight reduces output.
How much impact can dirt really have?
A surprising amount. That Mumbai study was fascinating. 0.4% loss per day from dust, adding up to a 50% drop in output after 4 months without cleaning.
50%? That's insane.
It is. Globally, in dusty areas, losses of 17–25% are considered average if panels aren't cleaned regularly. That's a huge hit to your savings.
So how often should you clean them?
Depends where you are. IIT Bombay research suggested weekly cleaning minimizes loss, but even monthly cleaning makes a huge difference compared to never doing it. Maybe twice a year in cleaner places, but potentially every month or even more often in really dusty spots or after smoggy periods.
Rain doesn't just wash it off.
It helps, but often doesn't get rid of stubborn grime or bird droppings. Gentle washing with water and a soft brush is usually needed.
What else falls under maintenance?
Simple stuff, really. Checking for debris on or under the panels, making sure wiring isn't damaged or exposed, keeping inverter vents clear so they don't overheat. Because solar has few moving parts, it's not complex. Some providers offer annual checkups, too.
And ignoring this can lead to bigger issues.
Yeah, small things can snowball. Dirt buildup can cause hot spots on panels. An overheating connection, if not spotted, could eventually damage the inverter. It's about preventative care.
And apparently 15–25% of systems underperform because of lack of maintenance. That's a lot of wasted potential.
A huge amount of lost value, yes.
What are some real-world examples of things maintenance catches?
In the U.S., maybe monitoring shows production dropping in winter could be shade from a tree that's grown taller, needs trimming.
Shade creep.
Exactly. Or snow covering panels needs to clear. Or maybe monitoring data, or just a visual check, reveals pigeons nesting under the panels and messing with wires.
Critters.
Always a possibility.
And in India, dust is the big one.
Dust and heat are major factors. Regular cleaning is just vital there for good output. We heard many households clean every week or 2 in summer. Also need to ensure inverters have good ventilation to handle the heat. And smog can leave residue that needs washing. That Delhi Society example showed how much output improved just by starting regular cleaning after a year of neglect.
Modern monitoring helps pinpoint problems, though, right? Panel level stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Microinverters or optimizers let you see if one specific panel is underperforming. Makes it much easier to find the cause. Maybe it's just dirtier or shaded or actually damaged, like finding that pigeon nest shading one panel via the app.
So how do you avoid falling into the set and almost forget trap?
Just build it into your routine. Glance at the monitoring app regularly. Schedule cleaning based on how dirty things get where you live, maybe DIY with a hose and soft brush, early morning's best, or hire someone. Consider an annual professional checkup for peace of mind, checking connections, and overall health. Remember, dirt and neglect directly reduce your savings.
Staying engaged is key, even if it's just a little bit.
Exactly. And having support from your provider helps. Companies like IHS and Virotech often provide guidance on monitoring and maintenance for their advanced solar systems, helping you protect that investment.
Okay, that brings us to the final seventh deadly sin. And you could argue this is the biggest one, choosing the wrong installer.
Absolutely. Because, really, the installer you choose influences almost all the other sins we've talked about. Getting this choice right is probably the most critical step.
Yeah, it's a huge investment, and you're trusting them with your roof, your electrical system, your money.
Precisely. A bad installer can mess up the assessment, use shoddy parts, ignore safety, size it wrong, do a terrible installation, and then maybe even disappear when things go wrong.
While a good installer guides you through it properly and ensures it all works long-term.
Exactly. This sin is all about failing to do your homework on who you hire.
And with the solar boom, there are, unfortunately, some bad apples out there.
Definitely. Rapid growth attracts everyone, including those who are unqualified or maybe just looking to make a quick buck without focusing on quality or longevity.
Like the pink energy example again. That really highlights the risk.
It does. Thousands of customers left with non-working systems and voided warranties when they went bankrupt. It shows what can happen if you choose a company that's maybe growing too fast, cutting corners, or isn't financially stable.
And in India, with all the new small contractors jumping in, similar risks.
Very similar. The government push is great, but it means lots of new players, some potentially lacking training or experience, maybe using cheaper materials to win bids. Oversight is still developing, so the responsibility really falls on you, the consumer, to choose wisely.
So how do you vet an installer properly? What are the key things to check? The anti-sin commandments.
Okay, first, credentials and experience. How long have they been doing this? How many systems have they installed? Look for licenses, certifications. NABCEP in the US is a big one. Experience counts. Fewer rookie mistakes.
Second, reviews and references.
Crucial. Check online reviews, Google, solar reviews, local platforms, but also ask the installer for references you can actually talk to. Are past customers happy? Or is there a pattern of complaints? Remember that stat from Connecticut? Most issues tied to a few bad actors.
Third, pricing and proposal transparency.
Be wary of quotes that are way, way lower than average. That's often a sign they're cutting corners somewhere. A good proposal is detailed. Equipment brands and models, production estimates, warranty info, all clear. And watch out for unrealistic savings promises.
If it sounds too good to be true.
It probably is. Reputable installers are honest about solar's capabilities.
Fourth, warranty and after-sales service.
The installer should offer a workmanship warranty on their installation. Maybe 5 or 10 years is common. Ask who you call if there's a problem, and think about whether they'll likely be around to honor that warranty. Company stability matters.
Because if they go bust, the equipment warranty might still exist, but you pay for the labor to fix it.
Exactly. Choose established or well-backed companies if possible. Insured, certified.
Fifth, professionalism and gut feel.
How do they act? Did they do a proper site visit? Do they answer your questions clearly or just pressure you to sign? Red flags.
Yeah.
High-pressure tactics. Deal only good today. Vague answers. Reluctance to put things in writing. Trust your intuition.
And maybe look for local installers.
Often a good idea. They know local rules, permitting, the utility company. Easier for service calls, too, usually.
Any big differences vetting in the U.S. versus India?
The U.S. generally has more formalized licensing and inspection processes, though problems still happen. India's market is more varied, often smaller players, so verifying credentials, checking government program links, and getting solid references is maybe even more critical due to less consistent oversight.
What's a practical tip for someone choosing?
Interview them. Talk to at least 3 installers. Ask them detailed questions. Why this panel? How will you handle potential roof leaks? What's your process if shade is an issue? A good installer welcomes informed questions. A bad one might get defensive or vague.
That makes sense. You learn a lot from how they answer.
You really do. As industry experts note, maintaining quality and standards is crucial for consumer confidence, especially as new players enter the market. You, the customer, have the power by choosing carefully.
So the final huge takeaway. Do your homework. On it.
It's the most critical decision, like
Yeah.
choosing that surgeon.
Look for the certifications, the happy customers, the solid warranties, the transparency. Don't just jump at the lowest price or the flashiest pitch.
A good installer helps you avoid all the other sins. They'll do the proper assessment, use quality gear, follow safety rules, size it right, install it well, and give you good advice on monitoring and maintenance.
The right installer is your best insurance against solar regrets. And choosing a trusted name like IHS Envirotech, known for their comprehensive approach with advanced solar systems, is certainly one way to ensure you're partnering with professionals committed to getting it right.
Absolutely. Get this choice right, and you're well on your way.
So as we wrap up, going solar, still a fantastic idea for your wallet and the planet.
Definitely. The potential is undeniable.
But being aware of these 7 deadly sins,
Hmm.
the roof, the components, safety, sizing, installation, maintenance, and crucially, the installer, the awareness is key.
It really is. Doing your homework, asking the right questions, choosing reputable partners, that's your shield against these costly mistakes.
We really hope this deep dive has armed you with the knowledge you need to navigate your own solar journey confidently and successfully.
By making informed choices, you can sidestep these pitfalls and genuinely enjoy the benefits, the savings, the clean energy for decades to come.
Absolutely. Here's to making smart solar decisions and enjoying all that sunshine has to offer.